How's it going, YouTube? Thank you for heeding the Twilight's call. Today, we're going to discuss the Lord cycle that they are printing into Dominaria United. Before we begin, though, I would like to ask, if you like what's going on here, please consider throwing me a subscription, liking the video, and commenting, all that good stuff. It does help the channel grow. And now on to our little subject at hand. The Lord cycle that they are printing into Dominaria United, they are powerful, and they have lots of good effects, but I've noticed something about them. They don't have very much support actually existing in Standard. Now, what do I mean by that? There's not a lot of creatures that actually are pumped by them or use their effects. So this is a little bit of a weird thing for Wizards of the Coast. I don't understand why they are printing them other than, command blah, blah. But in this case, yeah, not good. So Dominaria United is going to bring us a cycle of lords. They're all rares that are one in each color plus a 2-color green-white lord that are going to be playable in Standard. However, these things don't actually come with a lot of support outside of 2 of them. And it makes me wonder why they would pick the certain classes that they pick. But let's go ahead and take a look here at this cycle and discuss what's going on here. First up is Leaf Crown Visionary. For green, you get an Elf Druid 1/1 that gives other elves you control +1/+1, and whenever you cast an elf, you can pay a green and draw a card if you pay the green. We're losing a bunch of elves to rotation from Kaldheim. All of them are going to be gone. I anticipate more elves coming in the Brothers War set, because Argoth, where that story was set, had a lot of elves living there in the old lore. However, that means that this elf's time to shine is probably going to have to wait until at least that set comes out, because right now we only have about 2 to 3 playable elves from the older sets and maybe around 10 new ones, and some of those are actually legendary, so it's hard to build up a mass of elves to do anything with. The red lord from the set is Runvelt Hordemaster. For 1 and a green, you get a 1/1 goblin warrior that says other goblins you control get +1/+1, and whenever this or another goblin dies, exile the top card of your library. If it's a goblin creature card, you can cast it until the end of your next turn. Goblins are one of the most popular creature types in Magic history, and it'll be played as long as there are goblins to boost. My only issue at the moment is there is not going to be any 1-drop goblins in Standard after the rotation, and the rest of the carryovers, to be blunt, are kind of shit. This is another one of those that are going to have to wait until more goblins are actually printed into the format to actually do anything in Standard. Next up's the Black Lord, the shadow-rite priest. For 1 and a black, you get a 2/2 human cleric. Other clerics you control get +1/+1, and it has an activated ability of 3 black, tap, sacrifice another cleric, search your library for a black creature card, put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle. This guy is likely to see play more for his tutoring effect than actual pumping up of clerics. There's just not a great amount of clerics left after the rotation that are good, and Dominaria United, not including this guy, only has 7 clerics in black or white colors, and not all of them are standard playable. They're kind of crap. The other issue at hand is the tutor effect is limited because you have to sack another cleric. Again, a lot of the clerics are not really standard playable, and you can only get black creatures out of the deck, so I'm not sure how well this is going to go in Standard right away. Here we have the Voldalion Hex Catcher. For 1 and a blue, you get a Merfolk Wizard. It's a 1/1 with Flash that says other Merfolk you control get +1/+1, and it has an activated ability of sacrifice a Merfolk, counter target non-creature spell unless its controller pays 1. So you get a mana spike type, mana tithe type effect basically. So you get, a taxation counter for sacrificing a Merfolk. It's interesting on the surface, but I don't think it's going to see a ton of Standard play right away because there's just really no Merfolk support in Standard. There are none carrying over from rotation. The 4 sets that are sticking around, no Merfolks. They weren't part of the Worlds. And the ones that are in this set, there's a total of 6, and 2 of them are legendaries. So at the best here, you're probably going to get a pseudo-taxation card. You're going to have to probably sacrifice itself, and it only affects non-creature spells like board wipes and that kind of thing. That's going to hurt its utility quite a bit for a while. Now, when Ixalan is printed next year, sure, this will probably see all the play in a row because there's going to be a ton of Merfolk there. And now we're coming to the 2 that I actually think are playable right out of the gate when Standard rotates. We have first the mono white one, Valiant Veteran. For 1 and a white, you get a 2/2 core soldier. Other soldiers you control get +1/+1. For 3 white, in exiling the Valiant Veteran from your graveyard, put a +1/+1 counter on each soldier you control. This guy is getting trashed online everywhere I look. but he's a lord for a much higher printed creature type in the game and can give one final pump from the dead, whereas everything else, you kill it, it's gone, it's done, it's not doing anything for you. He is going to be much more playable as rotation hits compared to the other 4 that I've already mentioned. Looking at the set and what's not rotating, there's about 15 playable soldiers that will be in standard after the rotation is gone through, and that includes the last lord on our list, King Darian the 48th. For 1, a green and a white, you get a 2/3 human soldier. Other creatures you control get +1/+1. He also has an activated ability of 3 green white, put a +1/+1 counter on King Darian, and create a 1/1 white soldier creature token. And he has a final activated ability of sacrifice King Darian. Creature tokens you control gain hexproof and indestructible. So he's a glorious anthem on a creature, and it's the best of this entire cycle, if only because he has no type restriction and pumps his own tokens out onto the battlefield. On top of that, he also shares a color with Valiant Veteran, and that affects him and the tokens that he creates, kind of giving you a double up effect. And then the icing on the cake here is that he can sacrifice himself and save any of the tokens you've been pumping out or other tokens that you've created onto the battlefield. So all in all, he is a really good lord, and I think he's going to see quite a bit of play in standard and other formats. Look, Wizards of the Coast, I know you're trying to appeal to commander players here, but you really probably shouldn't use a standard set to print lords into an environment that doesn't support them at all. It just seems to me that that's a very horrible design decision. So what do you guys think here? Am I on base? Do you agree with me that this is just a bad set of design? Do you agree with me about which ones are the most playable? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, thank you for watching and have a great day.